WeSurf is recorded by the NewsStand studio in Rockefeller Center in the heart of Manhattan and is produced and distributed by the Swell Seasons Surf Radio Podcast Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back. This is episode 3 of WeSurf. We have myself here, Nigel Lewis, with my co-host, Kwame.
Here.
And in this episode, I'm really excited. I say it all the time, but this time I'm actually really excited to have...
And lucky.
Exactly, because these fools have been road traveling everywhere, which I'm super proud of. But in this episode, we're going to be talking to Soliman and Goddette. A lot of you know them as a duo from Stop Playin With Em. I know them a little bit before that, but we're going to get into a lot of that stuff in this episode. But I'm super stoked to have these guys on board. These are two individuals that I respect a lot. I've kind of watched them evolve because I think I kind of knew you guys as skaters first, to be honest with you. And then I saw Paul dabble, and I saw you dabble, and then now it's full on, surf domination. So for me, it makes me super happy. But I think that the rest of the world have seen you guys on the Stop Playin With Em thing, but I want them to learn a little bit more about you. And the reason for this video cast that we do is to make sure that we get people that look like us kind of out there, get those stories told. It's not that we're not all inclusive, but I think sometimes you got to hear the stories from a different point of view. And that's what we're looking to do here. I'm gonna kind of hand it over to you guys just to introduce yourself, just the basic stuff, like where you're from, just the basic stuff like that.
Okay, cool.
So, Quest, you want to start?
Quest.
My name's Soliman. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I moved out here 2.5 years ago, and started surfing about 3.5 years ago. And I've skated my whole life, so I guess that transitioned a lot for my surfing and my love for surfing because it's kind of the same feeling.
All right, so let me go back further. All right, so from Brooklyn, New York, but is that the family's from there? Were you is that where you're repping from the very beginning, or what's the history?
So my mother is Ethiopian and Italian, and she grew up all over the place, and then moved to New York when she was 18 for college, and had me when she was young, and stayed out here and raised me out here. My father's side is Colombian, but I didn't really grow up with my father's side or with my father like that. So more culturally, I'm more Ethiopian and Italian. And all my Thanksgivings growing up had Ethiopian and Italian.
Nice.
It was a good life.
How about you, Paul?
My name is Goddette. Thanks for having us here, guys. I'm from right here, from Rockaway, New York. Started skating when I was 13 years old, and I started surfing about 5 years ago.
All right, cool. So what I've always been kind of a little bit curious about, well, if you guys skate really, really well, and for those of you that haven't seen them skate, I think there's videos, right? There's somewhere
deep in the archives.
You guys skating. What was the genesis or what made you want to surf? Is it being out in Rockaway? And to couple that question, how did you guys kind of discover Rockaway and kind of the surf scene?
Well, how I discovered the surf scene, I don't even remember really, but I remember me and Tommy And this is before the 5 years, right? This is like as a teenager, growing up skating. We would go to like breakwater and rent boards and just paddle out into the water. Like no lessons, no lesson. Never saw YouTube videos. I got photos like me and Tommy just holding boards in front of the store, but we would just walk to the beach, paddle out, like get our butts kicked in the water, wipe out, and then just say we did it. But I didn't get the bug there, so but we had tried it. That was like introductions, like seeing it. And
right. So you said that you didn't get the bug then, but when did you get the bug? Like when was it like, oh my goodness, I need to just keep doing this? Was it immediate or was it kind of a gradual?
It was gradual for sure, but I bought a wetsuit, and that's when I met a guy on the street. It was me and Tommy again, right there by right in front of where Rockaway Roasters is now, and it was a guy. He had surfboards on his car, and I was like, "Yo, what's up with those boards, man? What you doing?" And just like chatting it up, he was photographing Tommy because Tommy's a model, and the guy was like, "Yo, I got extra boards. If you buy a wetsuit, I'll give you a board." So I just kept in contact with him. I bought a suit, and then I met him on Beach 69th, and he gave me a board. It was a short board, like pointy nose, 6'6", but from that moment, I had the ability to like go to the water myself, not have to rent, and then I could just keep going.
Sorry, I'm just beating your head with all these questions, but
this is what we.
Was there anyone else in your family that surfed, or like what was the water culture like?
Water culture, all right.
For you?
No, nobody in my family surfed. Surfing was like the furthest thing from anyone's mind. My dad was a fisherman.
Okay.
My dad grew up right here at Hamels Projects. He grew up in Far Rockaway his whole life. So he would fish. He would go fishing on like Beach 60th jetty. He would go fishing downtown in like that inlet behind Atlantic Beach, right where the bridge. So that was his like relation. I hated fishing because we're always just sitting there waiting for a bite, and I was so bored as a kid because he'd cast the line out, and then we're just sitting there, and then there's a bite. You see the pole bend it, and then it's like jump. It's like go, grab it, and then you got to pull the fish out. And it's only now that I'm seeing that it kind of relates to surfing.
I was just gonna say that because it's kind of like surfing. You gotta sit there, wait for
Especially in Rockaway.
Especially in Rockaway, yeah. So I made that connection now. So.
But also, your dad didn't even like you surfing at first. Like.
He didn't. He didn't appreciate the surf culture. It was like, that was just a different thing. He didn't want any surfboards in the apartment. So at one time I came to Nigel and I was like, "Yo, man, my dad's not letting me have the surfboard at home. Can I just leave it in the shop for storage?" And he was like, "Yeah, for sure." So I just left it here, and then I would come to station to surf.
Nice.
Chris, what about you? Ocean culture.
Ocean culture, the way I got into surfing.
Well, the ocean culture. I mean, what was it like for you?
I mean, I grew up traveling with my mom, so I would always like be in the ocean, like just swimming around like little like peninsulas and stuff. Like, and there was this one time too where I was swimming around a peninsula, and we thought we weren't going to make it, but we made it. And I don't know. Just the ocean culture in New York is very different than everywhere else in the world. I think because it's pretty. Well, I guess like as of recent years, it's becoming way more diverse, and just a bunch of collectives and a bunch of different people are coming to surf in New York. But also, the reason why it's a bunch of different people is because there's so much like culture in New York as it is. So when you go to like other places like California or just like kind of like places where you predominantly see white people surfing, the ocean culture there is a little different. It's more like bred in and almost like coastal communities in California are super rich, so only rich people have access to the water, while Rockaway has like Paul's dad grew up in the projects, Farmy grew up in the projects, and these type of people are starting to surf now in Rockaway, and you don't really see projects in California right by the beach. It's more inland, so it's important for people like us to like surf and like open that vision up for people that live more inland or you don't even know you can surf. Because when you show a guy from the hood that you're surfing, they like think you're the coolest person ever. And I'm like, yeah, you can do this shit too.
That's actually a really good point. And I never thought about that. We've been to other places and seen these other places, but then
like you said, it's mainly like upper class and who can afford that beachfront property.
Exactly.
You know, and then you come down to not just Rockaway, but other places as well. You're looking like, oh, okay, you know, because I know for me, and I know Nigel, this happened to you as well. You know, you walk down the beach and people look at you like, you know, you're black, right?
Yeah.
Why you walk with that boy for? You do know you're black. Like, yeah, I know. Come on, let's go.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, that actually sparks another question I had. What was the trigger for you? Like, because you were skating, you used to teach at Chelsea Piers, yeah?
Yeah,
Right, cool.
I would teach. I mean, like, I was kind of going through a lot before I started getting back into skating. So I skated when I was really young, and then I stopped skating. I kind of, like, had a wild phase, like, in and out of my mom's crib, like, a bunch of stuff. And then I moved back to my mom's crib to get, like, my shit together, and I started skating every day. Like, I kind of got obsessed with skating again because that was the only thing that would, like, take me away from, like, whatever I was getting into. So I started teaching kids how to skate with Andrew Gellis that owns Substance Skate Park right now, and I've known Andrew since I was like 14, so he was always a surfer. But as a New Yorker, I would look at him like, this surfer guy, like whatever. Like, we skate together, and the way I got into surfing, I had an Australian girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, and her father wanted me to meet her, and they were a whole surfing family.
Wait, her father wanted you to meet
No, him.
Oh,
Sorry. Her father wanted me to meet him.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, so her father wanted me to meet her, Putty, and I was out there for about a month. And then the crazy thing is we started breaking up on that trip. So then I just started renting a board every day. And I was like, fuck this. I'm going to go surf every day. And I was surfing Bondi and just all these like coastal Sydney beaches.
Got it.
And then I came back to New York and I met my friend Sam in a bar who lives in the marina now. And I was like, yo, I'm moving to Cali. I want to learn how to surf. This is what I'm going to do now. And then he was like, yo, you can surf in New York. And I was like, what? No, you can't. Like, what are you talking about? And he's like, look, when April comes around, it's going to get a little warmer. I'm going to have a wetsuit. Because he didn't have a wetsuit. Yeah, for all that. So then I was waiting. I was just waiting on April to come around. And then, I came to Rockaway and I surfed. And I've literally never stopped ever since that day. I learned, that's how I got into surfing in Rockaway. And the crazy thing is, Sam that day, he wasn't really into surfing, but he had every piece of gear. He saw how into it I was. He was like, look, man, you can just hold down my gear. So he let me hold his wetsuit and like a 6'6" like surfboard. Yeah. And I would just go at least 3 or 4 times a week. And I'm ask him, he knew, like, he'd be like, why are you going out right now?
Yeah. I mean, I remember I met you actually. You were coming before, just to the store, like just I think in and out real quick. I think you came in one time, and then Bryant, my old partner, somehow connected.
Okay. So I was taking the train one day, and like the S train, I'm tired. I'm like I would surf to the point where I felt like I was like about to pass out, and then I had to take the train home. Like, right. So I ran into Brian on the train. He's like, "Hey man, like, what's up? I'm Brian. Station." I knew about Station, but he explained it for me. Yeah. And he's like, "Oh, we have lockers and stuff." And I'm like, "Oh, really?" Like, but a lot of the lockers around Rockaway are pretty expensive, and Stations is like kind of pretty affordable. Yeah. So he definitely helped me out with a good price, and he's like, look, I got you. I see your commitment coming out. And then that's how I met Nigel, got closer to Nigel, because he's like, oh, you got to meet my partner, Nigel. Yeah. And then, from then on, I was coming, especially once I had my board there, I was coming right after work. Like, I would have my, like, button-down shirt. Exactly. And I'm like, I don't need anything. I'm just put my wetsuit on or my shirt.
You're right, because I did remember you coming out and you were, like, all buttoned up.
Yeah, because I was coming from, that was, like, when I, like, worked a real job. I had, like,
nothing wrong with that.
But I would literally, like, I would get in trouble at work because I'd be watching Surfline or I would go surf before work and be tired, and it would be weird because they'd be like, oh, what did you do today? And it's like the middle of January, and like I surf, and then it would be like they just look at me crazy. But I quit that job, because they told me I had to like clean up my face. They're like, oh, you need to shave, and this is a pristine spot. And I was really getting into surfer mode at that point. And I literally like quit that day and told Alex, like, yo, I'm moving to Rockaway.
Yeah. You should absolutely not surf before work.
Yeah.
What's kind of cool, I think about New York, and maybe it's an East Coast thing, but I think it's a very New York thing, is people don't understand what New York surfers go through to surf.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just like, oh, we're going to check in and get out there. Because most New Yorkers, let's face it, don't own a vehicle, right? So you're like subwaying it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're trying to get it in before you go to work. Knowing what happens when you surf a good session, the water build up in the nose, like the whole deal. And I think it means something different. At least for me, it does. But I have to go through all of that, and I think it's almost like this badge of honor for all like the subway heads that come out and they're riding the subway out, and they're like they see you and say, "Oh yeah, so you know."
I saw people who actually bought a car specifically to surf.
Or the best is like taking the train at like 4 a.m. and talking to the crackheads and explaining to them like,
this is not a tip.
And then you're just like, oh, well, I'm going surfing. You going surfing? Oh, I gotta come see you one day. Like, you know, like if you ride into Rockaway, he's geeked up on something. And like, I'm from New York, so I'm gonna talk to anyone in the train. I'm not gonna be on some like, hey, don't talk to me. Like, I'm explaining surfing to them. And like 5 a.m, you can tell he had his night, and I'm just starting my day.
That's true.
You know, seeing that was crazy. Like,
so here's a question that I always ask. So, was there skating? It's pretty inclusive, you know, like because skating's very like board, curb, you're good, right? And I feel like there was a diversity in skating way sooner, whether or not it was like very literal, but you just kind of it was there.
Yeah.
Was that ever a thought in your head when you came out surfing, or were you like, nah, at that point, you know, what's your
like the transition of it?
No, kind of more like that, because there weren't a whole lot of black people surfing in Rockaway at the time, right? Was that like a hindrance for you? Was that more like you didn't really think about it? Did you even care? You know?
Well, for me, I knew 2 black surfers in Rockaway. I knew Lou Harris, and then I knew you, Nigel, because I would go to Breakwater, and both of you guys were hanging there. Yeah. So, I mean, it's strange. I mean, I think knowing that was like enough for me to be like, yeah, let me go and try it. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like that was enough. Right. You know, me and Tommy would go and rent boards, we'd try it. But that was it. It was just you 2 guys. But yeah, definitely growing up skating was like way more like inclusive. I mean, people are just nicer in general, which is strange, but or more open. I don't know how to explain that. Yes.
I think there's a commonality in skating because everyone just kind of knows, like, you know, in surfing.
I think with
surfing is almost like people want you to prove yourself.
Yes. True.
First wave.
In surfing, there's always this, at least what I've experienced, there's this thought of there are only so many waves. And if you waste one, that means you need to go to the back or you need to get out of the water because you can't waste any wave at all. There's only so. But I mean, it's not true.
Right. I can see the logic. I can see the logic.
So many waves. The swell's only going to be between this date and this date, so we need to get as many as we can get. So if you're going to come out here, you got to know what you're doing.
Surfing is like the Warriors to me. Like everyone got their own little turf.
True.
Like, you know what I mean? Like where you from? I don't know. Like I really came into surfing oblivious. Like I did not know who Kelly Slate. I didn't know one surfer when I started surfing. Even when I started in Australia, I didn't even look into surfing that much because when I would see those guys surf, I couldn't really relate to them because they were going crazy. But I'd be like, oh wow, that's sick. But like, it just felt so far to even do those maneuvers when I first started. So I was kind of just on my skating like mentality, and a bunch of the locals out here that I'm really good friends with now, like Ray, Shane, Simon, they all like yelled at me, cursed me out. Because I was dropping it on them because I wasn't acting right. But I didn't even take that to the heart. Like by the end of the day, they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry, kid. Like, you just got to do it this way." Because I wasn't the type to like get yelled at and then like talk back or get emotional about it. I just be like, "Yo, my bad." Like, I'm just trying to serve. And when you say that to somebody, like. And unless they're really just not having a good day, they're just an angry soul.
Usually they get it.
Yeah, they gonna get it. And if they don't get it, it's all good. Like I'm from New York. I ain't tripping. Some random guy being like, "Oh, why'd you burn me?" Like, But now I get it, you know.
Free, brother. Go ahead and banana.
For me, it was similar. I was surfing the 60s a lot when I first started. Like 62, 60s jetty, and same deal. I would like drop in on people, like, you know, I don't know what you're doing. I really know what you're doing. Drop in, like, you know, like trying to duck dive, but not holding onto the board. You know, like it's just
like, we did it all.
And now that I'm a better surfer, I understand the rules. You know, so they make a lot of sense. You know, and I can pass it down to someone else. When I see somebody diss their board, I'm like, yo. Hold on to your board when you duck dive, you know, like the safety part of it.
Yeah, now I teach people the way I would like people to talk to me when I first started.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even remember really. The only time I yell at people when I see them bullying somebody else. Like, really, like, that's the only time I ever got, like, a little static here. I was just like, yo, don't talk to them like that. That, the bullying stuff, I don't jack that. But if they did something wrong, I'd just be like, hey, like, a girl literally opened my leg up, and I was cool with her. Like, I was like, it's all good. Like, I'm good. And she was freaking out. You okay? Okay. I'm like, it's cool. But it's funny. Every time she sees me in the water, that's like, I'm sorry about you. And I just say, it was like a year ago. I'm like, yo, it's fine. Like,
that's right, the leg. Okay, yeah.
I mean, we definitely, I think, and maybe we'll have you guys on for this conversation, but Kwame and I have been talking about it, but we definitely going to have a conversation, I think, around just like etiquette and kind of like rules and stuff like that, because it is something that's very prevalent. But it's also something that can be very dangerous. And, you know, Rockaway is just going to be, you know, what it is. It's going to get crowded.
It ain't getting slower.
Exactly. But to move forward a little bit from that part. So been surfing for a while, right? And then you're starting to kind of get some traction, right? I mean, traction is probably the right word. Like, you get better, you know, you get different boards, like, you just kind of become a better surfer. And then, sorry, to cut that. And then...
those are our Stop Playing With Em fans.
Yeah.
I gotta get you to the back.
Don't autographs.
Bring him on the back.
Next time.
And then I remember, so Paul, I had you at the shop. You were doing some ding repair. Like, I touched to help do some ding repair. And then it came in super helpful for me because I needed someone who, and for people who don't know, Paul is really good with his hands and like meticulous and very detail oriented. And when you do ding repair,
ladies,
you need that. So I was actually very happy to have you work here. And help with the boards. And Quest had a quick stint here, but Quest wasn't like that. You know, Quest wasn't a retail.
No, it was the pandemic too. I started working for the pandemic, and then after that,
you're like, let's go. But what I was getting to is that, and then during the pandemic, I think you guys were like, hey, you know what? Like, let's time to take a trip, right? So Paul, you took some time, so you've been surfing Rockaway, kind of getting your chops like sharp, and then I know you guys both traveled. You went to Mexico for a little bit, and actually Costa Rica first, and then Mexico. What was that experience like? From not just from the wave perspective, but just from like it's gonna sound corny, but it's like an awakening sense. Because for me, I know when I finally like. I'm from the Caribbean, yes, right? So I surf Barbados, I surf here. But when I actually went to like other places to surf, because as a kid, and you know, you read the magazines, you're like, all these exotic places. There's like Panama, and there's like, you know. So in my head, I went to Costa Rica. Actually, it was probably my first official surf trip.
Nice.
That wasn't. I think I went there even before to Puerto Rico. And I remember being like, these waves are phenomenal, but I'm like in the jungle a little bit, and there's like a different culture, and I felt very like surf adventure, you know. So for me, it was very eye opening. I'm like, wow, this is a whole different kind of beast. So the surf part of it was dope, but then just like culturally and like the food and the people, and how was that for you? Again, coming from the neighborhood that you came from, surfing East Coast, and then going here,
and not leaving New York too.
Oh wait, was that your first trip? Like outside of the U.S.?
Outside of the U.S., yeah.
Oh, sick!
So,
yeah. How was that?
It was amazing. So I never left the country until about 2 years ago.
Oh wow!
I got my. I knew I was going to do surf trips from the time I started surfing, and I got my passport. I got my passport like a year before, And I just knew. I was like, I'm going on surf trips one day, and I got my passport. I never got a chance to use it until I met my friends Naomi and CJ here at station, and I met CJ. He used to be a local surfer. Well, he's a local surfer, but he moved to Mexico. And we planned a trip. We wanted to go to Nicaragua, but we said, let's go to Costa Rica instead because it's more known as a destination. We're all like pretty young, new travelers. I didn't know anything about traveling, so that was our first trip. And yes, definitely had that awakening where it's like,
So paint the picture first. Flight lands, there, you come down to the beach, you see that wave for the first time. What you feel?
What wave too? What was your first one?
The first place we went, I landed with CJ. Naomi came later, and the first place we went was Santa Teresa.
Okay.
So I actually remember that because I was following you on Instagram at the time. I remember seeing that.
That was crazy.
I remember they were. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but Naomi was like crocheting the hats. Those hats that you guys had.
That was later.
I think that was
Mexico trip. Yeah, but yeah, we landed and we took a bus and then we took a ferry to Santa Teresa, and the waves. The waves were really big for me at that time, and then the wind was it was onshore, but we surfed that evening anyway, and it was just. Yeah, it was amazing. I don't even know how to explain it. I think what hit the hardest about it was when it hit the hardest was sitting in a lineup, looking back to the shore and seeing a line of palm trees. That was crazy. I was like, I'm in a surf movie right now. It felt like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the awakening moment.
And we will be right back. And now back to our show.
And then, so you did Costa Rica, and then how did the Mexico kind of connect?
So
because you came back,
I came back home. Yeah, three months later after going up and down the Pacific of Costa Rica, and then I was home for a few months. I was working at a station at that time, and the same crew I was in Costa Rica with Naomi and CJ happened to be in Mexico, and they ran into each other randomly at a bar. In the same place, and then they took a photo and sent it to me and said, "Oh, Paul, come through!" and I don't know. I just had to buy that ticket.
I remember.
I bought it one way, and I was like, "I'm staying for 2 weeks, Mom."
Yeah, live.
Because I thought I was staying for 2 weeks.
Nah, because that was the thing too. I think we were planning a trip for later. I went to Mexico at the same time, but a different part of Mexico. We were FaceTiming each other. I remember, and I actually went for 2 weeks. And I'm like, bro, you gotta come back because then we gotta plan for the next trip. Don't just stay out there. He stayed out there how long?
3 months.
Yeah, 3 months. And then by the end of the month, I was breaking it down to him. I'm like, bro, we have 4 months until we go.
And we're already planning for the winter.
Yeah, exactly. We were so it was cool.
But when you surf, time was different. So
I was mad at him.
Yeah, you get out there.
I was jealous.
You're going to surf. You see yourself. Oh, I'm going to surf right now. You look at your watch. 6 hours later, you're like,
yeah.
Skipped work, might as well.
Yeah, straight up.
So I actually neglected to ask this question before because I know, but how did you guys meet?
In the water.
In the water. I would see Quest surfing at 90th. I didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
I remember when he was surfing on this black foamy.
Oh yeah. I think that thing's
that was Old Faithful, and I saw Paul do a floater, and that was the one. that was the one trick I really wanted to learn, really badly. My whole life was devoted to learning how to do a float. I didn't care about turns. I really wanted to learn because it looked cool to me.
It's like skating.
Yeah, it's just like skating. I look like a 50-50 exactly. So I'm like, I'm gonna learn that. And then he did it right in front of my face, and I was just I didn't know how to do turns. I was on the black foamy. He was on the fiberglass, and then I was like, "Yo, that was sick. How'd you do that?" And then if you know Paul in the water, he's really nonchalant and chill. So I was like, "Yo, I'm crazy." So I just pulled up on him, and he was like, "Oh, I don't know. Just a lot of speed, bro. A lot of speed." And then just paddled away from me, and I was like, "Okay." And I didn't even know how to generate speed. Yeah, he was just like, "Yeah, a lot of speed, bro. You just go on top of it." And I'm like, okay. And then
I remember that moment too.
I really, that was the time I was like, oh, this kid is cool and stuff. And then I showed Paul. I think he saw me like surfing. I wasn't that good yet, so I knew he skated and I knew how to skate well. So I feel like to earn his respect, I showed him videos of me skating Chelsea, and he's like, "Oh, you skate, okay." And then,
that's all like
and then once he saw that, he respect. Not that he didn't have respect for me, but he was on to like, "Oh yeah, I'll chill with this guy." Like we have some similarities in that way, And and then the way we got like really cool is before all the traveling during the pandemic for hurricane season, we linked up and we're like, yo, like we got ascended this year. We're gonna go crazy, whatever. And we went to like away from where everyone else surfs around here. Somewhere around here. And
I had a session.
That was our spot. It would be me and Paul and Dante. And for those who don't know, Dante filmed a lot of Paul and I's like first videos before even Stop Playing Them was a thing. Kind of like Stop Playing Them came about during that season where it would just be me and him. So there was no excuse not to go on a good ass wave. Like if you're out here and it's like huge set comes and then you kind of scared to go on it and somebody else takes it, you're like, oh, okay. Like at least when you first started surfing, like, oh, okay, like I guess I didn't need to go. But then with this, it's like me, him, and big ass waves. So it's like we would say stop playing with them to jump to get in the zone. Like snapping, like, yo, stop playing with him. And he's like, all right, bet. And then
I'm pretty sure Dante said it first, like he's the first person.
Yeah, I can see Dante saying that. I can see him saying that.
And then we were just in the water. Yeah, we were in the water one day, and we were just like, going hard for that. Like, it would really get us into good waves, though. Because the sets would come, and yo, Paul, stop. Go, like, right now. Who cares? Go. And then it would just because that place is just it gets real dumpy. Like not like over here, it's a little more chill.
Yeah.
So that actually brings up a question I have. So, do the two of you kind of feed off each other when you're in the water?
For sure.
What type of vibe? Who's the mellow vibe one, and who's more of the go type of vibe? Even though I think I know the answer to that already, but I want to hear it from you.
I'm gonna let them answer this, but I know this to be true, and I'm telling you because when Paul was in Costa Rica, I think were you here?
Probably, yeah.
You were here, and then I remember you were like looking at it, it's like, wait, what did he do? He's like, nah, I gotta get ready. He's in Costa Rica catching all these waves. And I remember Quest was like, there's no way he's coming back and being better than me. I don't care where he went. And I thought it was the funniest thing.
That's all right.
Listen, no, of course. But I thought it was a good thing. But that's what I saw. So I was like, oh,
because I'm just in Rockaway 1 to 2 foot waves.
Exactly.
Every day, and I'm just like, fuck, he's gonna get so much better than me. And like, not even on some like, because I want him to be better than me, so I could get better. Or if I'm better than him, it don't even matter. Like, there's certain maneuvers I could do that he can't do. There's certain maneuvers he could do that I can't do. When we surf together now, it's like, we remember every wave like meticulously. We're just like, yo, you remember like when I did this? And so now I was like, yo, but like, how's the water out the back? Like, was it like good or was it good? And he was like, nah, that one was good.
My question would be like, yo, I got that barrel, right? But was I really in it? He's like, yo, don't play with me. Was I in it?
Yeah, like, don't lie to me. Right?
Don't make me feel good. Just tell me the
truth. And he'll tell me to be like, nah. And I'm like, okay, copy. And then there'll be one I really get. He's like, nah, you were in it. So it's like, we push each other in that way. Like, when we're watching the videos of each other, like, and I see a wave that's like, of him, I'll be like, that ain't it. He's like, yeah, you're right, that ain't it. Like, it won't be like, we can look at each other's videos and say, yeah, you should have did this. And we won't feel a type of way. We'll actually be like, oh, okay, you see how you did this? And you notice how I did this? Like, he'll give me advice on something that he did. Or if he got the barrel, I'm like, yo, where are you taking off? Like, that's the beautiful thing about surfing together, like, for sure. Because we be on that time.
So how did the whole, maybe I've just brushed over this, but the Stop Playing With Em, how did that start? What is it? What does that mean? We discussed what it meant as far as like hyping you up to just go, right? Like it's your version of just do it, probably.
Exactly.
But how did it come about? What's kind of like the concept? Like is it just like a thing?
So while we were talking throughout that year, you know, while I'm in Mexico, he's in Mexico, and the whole plan was to go on this surf trip
together, because we only surfed in New York at that point, but he went this place, I went there. So
yeah, but we wanted to start a vlog because we got the opportunity to go with you guys to the wave pool in Waco, Texas, and then we saw Koa Smith and Blair surfing.
Shout out Koa, shout out Blair.
Yeah, and they were filming the whole time, so we were like, "Yo, if we're gonna do this surf trip, we should we should vlog too. We gotta record everything, you know, and share our adventures and save it for memories for ourselves."
Yeah.
So when coming up for a name for the vlog, it had to be Stop Playing. You know?
Because we look at Jamie O'Brien, you look at all these guys, they got their slogan, they got their thing, like, you know, it's cool, but like, for us, it was like, yo, what are we going to call it? And I really could not think of anything else to call it but that, because that's really what we identified with, like.
Yeah.
And you know, some people, when we say that to them, they don't get it, because that's honestly, Stop Playing With Em is kind of like New York slang. Like, Cali, like, they don't say that, like, they get it, but New York, you said somebody from New York, they go get it. That's like a basketball thing, like, somebody dunking on somebody in the park, they go like, stop playing with them. And then, like, I guess, yeah, that's the thing. We saw Koa and Blair, and then we met all these guys at Waco. One of the, we met Matt from Vans, and he sent us a bunch of Vans gear before we went on our trip, and that really just like motivated us to like yo, people have love for us and see our vision of wanting to surf and how we're new surfers, but like we picked it up quickly, so you know this is our life at this point, and we really didn't know what we were getting into, like creating Stop Playing With Em. Like we just created the vlog. We made some Instagram videos, like of us sitting in the room saying, "Hey, this is what we're doing. Stay tuned." Before we went, we were supposed to go to Bali originally. Then COVID stuff hit, and then we were torn between Morocco, Senegal, all these places. And then he was like, "Yo, let's go to this place that I never went to, but I wanted to go to in Costa Rica, Bocas del Toro, Panama." And I was kind of like, I don't know about that. I didn't really know how I felt about it. But then we just kept looking at videos, and he's like, nah, bro, let's just go. The Caribbean, it's different, bro. You're going to be surfing with black people. You're going to be surfing with indigenous people. And it's like, I was like, all right, let's just go. So we bought our ticket, and we started vlogging there. And then I guess you can talk about like how like Discovery hit us up and stuff, like a month into us being there.
Yeah, that was different. So Quest uses hashtags for the vlog, and it's like, that was when I was like, oh snap, hashtags work. Yeah, you put them there, you don't know.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is your message for today. So hashtags work.
So on our blog posts, if you go back, all the way back to the beginning on the Instagram, follow the page, by the way.
Stop playing with them. Playing with them.
Right. So Quest would do things like vloggers, travel vlog, lifestyle vlog, black surfers, things like that.
Yeah, I was trying to get traction for it.
And in February, Discovery was looking for outdoor content from black creators. So they found our vlog through a hashtag, and they sent us a message and asked us to make social media content for them.
And it was in the request. Like, you know on Instagram how you have requested messages? We didn't see the message for like 2 weeks. Like, it was like, hey guys, we'd love to work with you guys, da-da-da. And they was just in there, and he's about to clear the thing. That's what he was about to clear. He's like, wait, bro, is this real? And then me, like, you know, like I'm just like crazy. So I was like, oh yes, like. And then I was just so scared because it was 2 weeks. I'm like, we lost our opportunity. It's gone forever. But I replied to them like to the direct message, and they got back to us. We got on an interview with Tia, who's the main person of like that part of Discovery, and we thought it would just be like one post, maybe like we didn't know if we were getting paid. Like we didn't know anything really, but we knew it was going to be good for Stop Playing Them, so we were down with Discovery. And then they sent us like a year contract just to like make videos for them monthly, like 1 or 2 videos a month. And it was great because she said like they're trying to pay their content creators, and they never did that before, so we got super blessed with that, and that really opened our eyes like to like the possibilities of what we can do. I'm like, yo, now that we have this on our like, you know, resume, I guess, or whatever you want to call it, like we can work with other companies now, we can do this, and it really just like changed our whole perspective. But it didn't make, you know how you hear of all this like, oh, we started this And it was so fun in the beginning, but then it became like hell no. Like us editing videos is so fun. Like we because they don't be like, hey, can you smile like this? Can you do? No, they say, what do you want to do? Write down what you want to do. What are you gonna do in the video? Send us the layout. And every time they never really like critique us. They're just like, yeah, we love it. Great, keep it going. Nice. And it's like it's like our videos and what we want to do. I'm never like, oh, I have to be like this. Like I'm still myself, and I'm blessed for that for sure. We're blessed.
I think both of you are selling yourself short a little bit on this one because just sitting here with you, you guys have like a vibe. I think that's what they're picking up on. You know, they saw that connection between the two of you. They saw the vibe, and it's like, it's like these guys hit it out of the park every single time. So
and the crazy thing is that our friend, so I don't know if we created a movie. If you want to talk about that,
I was just gonna
because that's kind of the same time frame. And Discovery and Sean Madden are two different entities that they had no correlation. Like, so we can talk about that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was gonna bring it up, and I'm glad that you touched on it too. Yeah, I mean, so for people who don't live in Rockaway and don't so what Quest and Paul ended up doing is there's a lot of content from that trip. Ended up making it into a movie with what was the gentleman's name?
Sean Madden.
Sean Madden.
Sean.
Yep. And you actually premiered it at Rockaway WeSurf Club.
Yep. New Jersey, Jersey City, Asbury.
Yep.
We're about to do Patagonia in Brooklyn in October.
Nice,
Nobody knows that, but now they do.
And it's on YouTube?
Yes, it's on YouTube. Hit the DM for the link. Hit the DM for a shirt. And support the next surf trip. Yeah.
So this was kind of dope because I was at the premiere at the surf club, and it's one thing when I'm friends with you guys, right? So I kind of know the vibe, and we know the same people. But I was talking to people that don't know you that well, but they just kind of. And I had the one comment that kind of stuck in my head, and I think this is what going to Kwame's point that makes your kind of duo very relatable. Is the guy was like, this movie is like probably one of the best surf movies I've seen in the last couple of years. And I was trying to understand it, and he's like, it's not that they're the best surfers, but they're super relatable, and I feel like I was there with them. And that's like really dope because that's a connection that I think is really important to whatever you need to do. Like people need to connect. I mean, I think with the story, that's what I try to do with people every day. And hearing that from someone I know that didn't know you guys very well and was actually a really good surfer was very like, oh, okay. Because knowing me, I get nervous. Oh, did I surf really well? Like, what's this? But that wasn't what they were looking for, you know. And that's a big thing. And I think being relatable and having people look at you and go, oh,
they're real.
Yeah, I can see myself here. I can see myself here. They're real. Like that's kind of
they're real surfers. They're not the people standing up on the stage. Oh yeah, you know the waves were kind of good today, but it'll be better. And then I'm going to fly out to Fiji. And
it's funny because we can both agree. Like when Sean came, one, the waves weren't even that amazing. Two, he only came for like 2 weeks in the beginning and then 2 weeks at the end. So it was really like based off of like kind of like him just being there and if the swell was there or not. So that whole movie was really shot in about like 4 weeks, but like separately.
Yeah.
So like when we look at like our clips and stuff from there, I'm happy with them. But
of course.
Of course, he missed the best sessions.
Yeah. You know, like there's so many good sessions where I'm like. No cameras, barrels, like really, like. And I look at that video and I'm like, you know what? I'm glad this is the first one because they're gonna see
the progression.
Like I even look at that video now and I'm like, oh, I should have did this. And you know, as a surfer, you're always your biggest critique.
Yeah, of course.
Like when you're looking at footage of yourself, but then there's times where you do that turn you've been wanting to do. And you're like, yo, I finally did that. Like, you know, and that's why we keep going for it. I feel like. You know?
So what's next? So. I'm privy to the inside track because you guys are always in the shop. Exactly. But what's the game plan? Like I know your routine is that you hustle hard all summer and then you figure out something in the winter. So what's the winter game plan? If you could let us in.
I mean, I bought my ticket today. I just let y'all know I bought the ticket today. Paul definitely is gonna come regardless, and come soon. He's gonna buy his ticket soon, but we're gonna go to Bali, I think, this year, and we were supposed to go last year. And I've been to Bali during the height of the pandemic. I was there, so I would always tell Paul about Bali, and we would just go different places that are a little closer. And last year kind of got skunked because of, but I'm so glad we Uncle stopped playing with a movie. Would have never There's so much stuff that wouldn't have happened really. And now this year, it's almost like I feel more prepared for Bali as a surfer, as a human, as a traveler, as like what I love to do, film, and we obtain these new loves of like I be filming a lot and he be editing a lot. So it's like when we sit down together, it kind of like works really well. So yeah, I mean, you coming to Bali?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about.
I'm just wondering,
You got it quiet over there.
I like to put the pressure,
yeah.
Out of this pressure.
I don't like the pressure. I like to take my time. I want to be like, I have my stuff in order before I buy that ticket.
But
but it helps. It helps.
Me, I'm good with convincing Paul because I need to break everything down. This is how much money you need to save every day to even get to this point or whatever, and like that's just how my brain works. And then he's like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I'm gonna buy my ticket." So yeah, I'm sure he's gonna buy his ticket soon, and it's gonna be a lot of people. I hope you guys should come. Everyone should come.
I'm gonna try to see if I can make that happen.
Try.
See, that's
there's no try.
We're thinking about you said February, March, and April.
Yeah, February, March, April, Bali, and possibly I'm not sure how possible this is, but maybe a quick little strike mission to either PR or Panama. I would love to go to Panama just to see the boys and watch Stop Playing With Them, with them, give them all T-shirts, and honestly, give them part of the proceeds from our T-shirt, like what we've been selling. So, because they're just part of that movie as we are, and the movie wouldn't be what it is without them. Like it's all about local surfers and them taking us around, and we want to shoot multiple Stop Playing With Them movies in different locations and shine a light on these surfers, and then when they see themselves on like 4K or like whatever, they're just like, yo, this it's like a TV to them, and it's them on it. And our boy Alonzo, he got put in the newspaper out here, and he was so stoked. That's like a big deal. Like, I know he's not gonna you see this boy? So New York, and it just makes my heart feel good to be able to do that. And support. Like even our friends out there, I spent a bunch of money to buy like thing repair stuff and all that, and I sent it out there even after coming back, and I don't need any money from that. I just for us showing them their land, showing us around, making us feel like brothers. You got to treat them the same. You don't go places, act like brothers, and then you leave and you don't hit them up. That's trash because people be doing that and going on surf trips, and that's trash. They just act cool so they can get to the spots, and then they don't do nothing. Like it shouldn't be like that. You got to give to get.
Sure,
for real.
So I mean, we spoke a lot, so we'll probably try to wrap it up soon. But I was thinking, we'll get the questions. We'll get the questions after because we have our final questions soon.
Okay.
But after kind of all what you have done, right, and to get to this point, what advice would you give to like just young travelers, like people who are always kind of like, you know what I want to do? Like I wish I, like what advice? Because you guys aren't like caking with dough and like, I'm gonna buy this first class. Like this was something that you planned and you laid it out. What advice would you give to people thinking like, I don't know if I can do this?
I feel like I still need travel advice. If you're not caking with dough, I would say, and it also depends on how you're doing it. I would say travel with at least one person. Solo is cool too, but I would start at a hostel to meet people, get the lay of the land, maybe meet a local or two. That's what I would do in Costa Rica and in Mexico. We always started at a hostel, met some people, had friends to go surf with, and then from there, like the main spot was there, start branching out and exploring, driving up the coast or, trying to figure it out from there. But and the hostels are usually cheap, so that helped out.
Yeah, I just say planning. It's really all planning. Like if you give yourself 5 months to reach a goal, like me, like I bought my ticket out of a whim today, and then I'm like, okay, the sooner I buy my ticket,
you have to commit.
Now my mindset is, I got 5 months to hustle, and then say if I buy my ticket 2 months from now, I only have 3 months.
Right.
So 5 months to put yourself on a mindset of like I'm doing PA work, I'm doing a bunch of different work right now just to like get in the zone, and I feel like you will feel at ease as a human if you give yourself 5 months for a trip. And you kind of just be like, all right, this is a big chunk of money I got to lay down right now, but it's a definite I'm going and coming back. So now I just got to save up for all these things. And it seems like a lot, and it is a lot, but you'll thank yourself once you're out there, and you'll be able to adapt. Like that's the one thing. Just be able to adapt to people's communities and surroundings. Don't go there like deer in the headlights. Kind of just try to get cool with the locals. That's what I highly recommend, and don't doubt yourself. Like the more you question, but what if this goes wrong, or but what happens if I can't pay this, or what, then once you start doubting and you do all that, then you literally just wasting time on time you could be saving money to go on the trip. And we're living proof that it's possible. We're not rich, we're not stop playing with them isn't making crazy. We're getting a little money from the shirts and stuff now, but like at first it was him doing ding repairs and me doing a bunch of different jobs.
You're still doing that.
Yeah.
I'm still doing big repair.
I guess we still do it. Right. It just feels more easier now because I know what we need to do. The first time it was like the unknown. I didn't know what. Now I'm like, okay, bet. Like I've done this before. I can do it again.
And we will be right back. And now back to our show.
So we're gonna bring it to Rockaway real quick, and we're gonna just ask specific Rockaway questions. So, first one: favorite place to eat? Not surfing, and then after you surf.
Favorite place to eat, not surfing.
Like if you're just gonna go, I'm gonna get a bite to eat, and then after you surf, because there's two different kinds of hungers. One's like a hunger for pleasure, and one's like I'm starving.
One is like, and then the other one's like, just give me the left side of the menu.
Exactly.
Dang, like honestly, for like breakfast and stuff, I'd be cooking at home.
Alright, okay.
I'd just say for breakfast.
Yeah.
But after surfing, if I'm hungry, I really like. I don't remember the name. Right across the street, the Peruvian spot.
Okay, right, cool.
I love the Peruvian spot. They got the ceviche, the chicken, rice, mashed potatoes.
All right.
It's just one of the meals that you'll be good after you eat it.
I don't go there enough, but that's part of it.
This is really tough. I might have to pass on this.
No, you can't pass. One of your favorite places.
Oh, goodies.
I was about to say
Goodies.
That's really good. One of my favorite spots.
This is the second biggest comment, though. This is the second person that says goodies. Like they're getting the.
It's really good.
Yeah, goodies is really good. Oh wait, hold on, one more. Nigel's sister. Nigel's sister goes crazy. If y'all need good catering, Josie Delights. If you need catering, if you need just like good vibes, good food, she made food for my birthday. She makes food on the boardwalk in the summertime. What street? Yep, Josie Delights. That's one of my favorite places to eat. Last weekend, but hit her up. You can figure it out. Yeah,
she's on Instagram.
Yeah, definitely Nigel's sister. I forgot about that. Anytime I hear she's cooking, I'm pulling up.
Favorite beach to surf in Rockaway when it's firing.
You do not have to give secret spots.
No. I mean, when it's firing,
I got something to say because I think the jetties just work really well.
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't know, man. There's a few different.
Look, all I have to say, there's 7 miles of Rockaway, and there's a lot of great.
There's a lot of spots.
So look, if you want to travel and do your thing, I ain't stopping you. But,
I was going crazy because
our spot is called the Bird Sanctuary. That's what we call it. So if you can figure it out, You'll get there. If not, it's all good.
I just kind of feel like it also depends on what type of surfing you're in the mood for.
And yo, for real.
The conditions too.
No, because there's times we go to our spot and it's not good at all. Then we go to the 90s, and I love surfing the 90s. I'm always surfing the 90s, unless it's like pumping. Then you won't see me there. But yeah, the 90s for the most part, I just love it because it's kind of like home. All my friends are there. It's like a show almost. Like everyone's sitting on the beach. Like to me, I like people like watching people surf. Like, especially in New York, because you have people that never seen surfing in their lives, and they just go to the beach one day and it happens to be a swell. And then you get off the beach and everyone's just like, "Oh my god, you surf, like that's crazy, bro." So that's why I like the 90s for sure. But yeah, I guess that's one of my favorite places to surf.
Favorite board right now?
Ooh, yeah.
Okay, I got
or your go-to, and then like you know.
What is your trusted?
My favorite board right now is my newest board. It's a Solid Surf 6.6, and it's like an egg shape, but it's thin and it's like I'm having a lot of fun on it, and I haven't gotten to use it in sizable waves yet. So I've been using it when it's small, and I'm having a blast. So I can't wait.
Nice.
I've been riding the 5.5 Machado Seaside.
Okay.
And I love that board. But because I had this other board I used to ride that was an orange board, and it was a 5.8 38-liter Davy Sky. I still love you, Davy Sky. I love you, boys, but I just needed something a little smaller. So it's actually not even my board. It's Alex's board. And I've kind of like Andy ironed it and just like claimed it as mine.
Does he know you?
No, he knows. He knows. Like, yeah, he definitely knows, and he's I was like the big bro, so he even let me take the board to Cali. Like, just recently, he's like, "Come on, so you want to buy it, bro?" I offered to buy it before. He's like, "No, I'm not selling it to you. I love that board. I'm not selling it." I was like, "But you never ride it," so I would just take it out all the time. And yeah, I love that board. It's so flowy. You can it's loose, so you can slide your tail and just. It's good, but right now I'm looking for a step up. So
yeah, so I'm gonna shamelessly plug you guys for a minute, and say that I know that you guys hit me up to try to get some boards under your feet. So if there's any shapers that are looking to put some boards under these guys' feet,
yeah, we'll test some.
You know they're gonna travel. You know you're gonna get. It's definitely.
You're gonna get feedback.
You get it on the ground level.
Exactly.
So know that. And I know that you guys always give good feedback. Like we talk boards a lot and stuff like that. But just so you know. Yeah, man. I mean, I know you guys have some questions for us. But, just wanted to say again, thank you so much for this kind of coming to chat with us. We try to keep it simple and just stay focused. And I feel like this is a good.
Yeah, this is a good. Nigel thought he was getting out of here.
Pull out the phone.
Oh, he really wants some questions.
Number one. What's something you would tell your 25-year-old self to do that you think would change your life in the long term for the better?
Oh wow!
Damn, Paul.
No, you know what? I actually so I've heard this question, not to me, but I've heard this question, and so my 25-year-old self, I definitely would tell save and invest, and do weird stuff like. Start like get insurance and something you literally are not thinking about right now. But because we live in the U.S., it's capitalism is kind of what it is. You don't realize how having a certain amount of money to the side, or just in the works, or will benefit you later on. Benefit you, could benefit your family. But I think that. My personality has always been kind of the same, so I wouldn't be chill and take it easy. That's me. I'm gonna tell my, So I think what I don't know, and this is it speaks to so much more, and I think culturally that we're not taught is how to manage finances well. And I wish someone really sat me down and kind of explained taxes and investing and credit and all that kind of stuff. And I would have taken a course in that
to do
at
that.
25 to understand it, because you realize now that the people that are at that level, like truly making money, not just like not just make money making a freaking song on YouTube. I get it, but long term, I think I would tell myself just like pay attention to that, like financially become more financially secure, because a lot of stuff now is just so.
It's funny you say that, because my mom would say the same thing about like credit and all these things. I feel like we are almost reaping the benefits of like y'all going through that and realizing you should have invested in. Like now, I just created my LLC, so you know I'm trying to get into like all these jumps to owning the surf crib, buy the running the house, and that's you need a certain amount of capital to even play with people that want to do that as well. Because even if you have a little bit, you can get a group of friends together that are doing the same thing, and then you can put the dream together. So that's cool that you said that. Yeah. But I mean, you got your stores.
Trying. It just would have been nice to do it earlier.
Yeah.
But everything in time.
Yeah, exactly.
That's another thing I would tell myself that I learn every day, is that just because you think it's time doesn't mean that it's actually time. Be patient.
Yeah.
Like that's a big one for me, because I swear I know the answer. And then it doesn't happen, and then you see why, and you're like, oh my goodness, this is gonna happen in this perfect time. So that's just something else.
It's almost like when we're like, say we're getting a check from Discovery, and we're like, damn, when's that check coming?
Yeah.
It's taking a little while. It comes always on time. Like when I thought I needed it, like I didn't need it then. I need it now. Shit, like both of us. What about you with that answer?
I got to answer it too.
I want to know.
No, honestly, I wouldn't have given myself any advice. I would have left it as is, because the knucklehead I was then made me into the person I am today.
True.
I will freely admit it. I was very impatient. I wanted things to happen quick, fast, and in a hurry. Nothing was ever moving fast enough. I was that person. So the opposite. I was that person that went and read all those books and did all this, and I need to have the bachelor's and the master's and this and that and that and that. But then one day, I just remember stopping and thinking to myself, hold on a second. I need to slow down.
I need to live a little bit.
I need to live. I've been so busy trying to live. I actually have to live. So that's what. So I wouldn't have changed the thing. So what hit me right then is why I'm like now. It's like, okay, I'm good.
You live in
there. I'm enjoying the life I have. I'm good. I'm moving through life. I freely say almost every day, and I'm blessed, and I try to pass on those lessons to as many people as I can, as possibly as I can. So just keep moving. So one thing I probably would have said to myself is, protect those knees, because you started yoga late in life. Keep it up. Start a little earlier, but that's what
man. Cool.
Is that it? You got any more?
I got another question. Yeah, it's like
with y'all.
Yeah. So, how do you think surfing can change our communities? Like long term, like not even like not your lifetime, maybe like 4, 5, 6 generations. You know what I'm saying? This could be thinking far, maybe not. So maybe your grandchildren, if you plan to do so. So it's also like, do you plan on passing surfing down to your kids? Stuff like that.
When you say communities, you mean communities as in like Rockaway, or community as in like color?
Yeah, more so as in like our community, like the families that we grew up in. Yeah.
I mean, to be honest with you, so surfing has changed my life. Literally, the reason I opened the store is so it could change other people's lives. So I'm passing it on, and people don't even kind of get that about Station. That's how when people were telling me stuff. It's like, you need to sell that, you need to do that, and I'm like, I do need to do all that stuff, but you know what? I need you to go out there and be like so giddy with like, oh my God, it's had the best life experience ever. Like that's what I feel a surf shop for me is about. It's about something so much bigger than like making tons of money and selling stuff. Like I want to do that too. Don't get me wrong, but the station isn't about that. And I think you guys get it, and that's why you hang. But I will say, and this has made me very, very happy in the last I think kind of couple months, is that my daughter loves coming into the store. She wants to ring people up. She's like,
You're like, station 20 more years, baby.
Free labor.
Free labor for 18 more years.
No, but she loves to surf, right? She loves to surf with me particularly. So right away,
I saw you with her the other day.
like, that's amazing.
Hell yeah! Shout out to Ella.
and she just and so for me, I think that might change her life, right? I think it's got to happen. Like my philosophy on this stuff is so kind of crazy. And I said this. I'm not even sure if it was on this podcast. Oh no, it was at the Patagonia thing we did. This world is changing. Like all the people that are super angry now, they're only angry because they know that the mixing is real and all this stuff is just happening. A couple years from now, America will not be the one color. It's going to be it'll be mixed because this generation doesn't care. They don't care about like, oh, what you look like this, and like, oh wait, you like music? I like music. You know what? You like art? I like art. And it's breaking these barriers that I think for so many years have been like ingrained in like you have to be this, and it's like no one gives a shit.
Yeah.
Like how are we moving forward? Because that's the only thing. Change is constant. Like that's it. Period.
Exactly.
So I think that for me we will change because surfing is just something that's so much bigger than catching waves, and that's just how I always think about it. I just think it's spiritual. It's like something that if you surf, you know what that feeling is.
Yeah.
You know, and you went to Panama, that feeling was there with them.
Yep.
You know, you went to Mexico.
Mutual feeling.
And surfing, I think there's probably other sports that does it. You know, but I think surfing does it in a way that's just like it's like spiritual almost.
Yeah,
like,
it's like Buddhism, like way of life. It's like
kind of crazy. And people who don't, the best slogan in the surf industry is only a surfer knows the feeling. Like I can't figure out another way because that's just really what it is. And I think that yes, I believe that what we're doing will have an impact. Young black kids or mixed kids seeing you guys travel and then seeing themselves in you like you did, right?
My friend just called me today. He's like, "Yo, I want to go to Thailand, bro. You inspired me to
go travel."
Like,
there you go.
Like one of my friends that just be like at the crib doing nothing. Like New York, New York, it's easy to get stuck in the loop here.
Yes.
If you're not from New York, it's a loop here. You can really be in the loop of like, oh, it's summer. Yes, my life is great, and then wintertime hits, but you already signed your lease. So you're just like, I'm stuck here now. Let me thug it out until next summer. And really, we're just living our lives for like 3 months out of the year, like 3-4 months of like enjoyment and this and that being cold as shit. And it's like I just try to inspire everyone I see like to get on a board, go surf, and I can happily say like I've taught like more than 10 people how to surf their first waves standing up, or people I didn't even remember doing that for. I'm like, dude, you helped me push my first wave.
Exactly.
Now there's some guy I met at the bar and I told him I surf because people ask me what I be doing. I'm like, yeah, I surf and travel, and he was like, oh, you can surf in New York. And then I sent him here, and he's been riding boards here every week now. He's like, yo, thank you so much for telling me about Rockaway.
It's life changing, man.
Yeah, and it's cool. It's good. I feel like it's good karma to put people onto that.
Hell yeah.
If you got a friend that like drinks a lot or just kind of be on their bullshit, if you get them into surfing and they actually start liking it, you'll start to see a difference in them because say you drink and then you miss waves or you try to go surf the next day, you go feel every part of your body, every piece of alcohol that was in your body the next day, and you're like, oh, I don't want to do that again. And then that's how you just start like transitioning into the surfing lifestyle, which is just automatically like pretty healthy, honestly. Like,
I agree.
But
I think that so for me, we all know the saying. We've all seen the movie. Surfing's a source, man. It'll change your life. Swear to God.
It's a source. It'll change your life. Swear to God.
We all know the line. So for me, I teach people to surf. I've lost count how many people have taught how to surf, how many people have given waves, how many people have pushed into waves, and it always amazes me that people stop me, like years later, and they're like, "Hey, Kwame, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, what? I wasn't deep. Did I owe you something?" Earlier today we were talking about my PTSD. We were talking about PTSD whenever something drops. I'm like, "Wasn't it?"
Yeah, literally, anything can drop. It could be a quarter. You're like, "It wasn't me."
Well, no, and then they come back to me and they're like, "Yeah, you taught me how to surf like 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
Wow.
Thank you so much. It changed my life with this." And surfing actually really changed my life as well. It really does. It is a spiritual thing. And in about a couple of months, well, a couple of weeks actually, I'm heading out to California to do a keynote presentation for the surf therapy organization, and we're going to be talking about how people who live closer to moving water actually are much happier than people who just live not around water. People who live closer to lakes are happier. People who live closer to the oceans technically are the happiest people because they're just that close to water, and those who go into water, they benefit so much from just being around that positive energy, the positive ions that are within the ocean. And
you get cleansed.
You just keep it in, it just cleanses them. So it really is a spiritual thing, and you feel it. The negative energy just gets
goes
washed
away.
out.
That's I don't need no therapy. I've tried it.
That's why it always confuses me when guys paddle out or girls are just like
angry.
You must be constipated because that's the only reason you could be this mad. That's the only reason why. I can't think of why you'll be this upset.
Paul's the angriest at all of them.
I don't mess with Paul. I'm not going in that direction. I'm like, he gonna cut me. I'm like, he's so silent. I'm joking.
All right. Well, I think that's a
That's it.
That's a good way to wrap it.
Yeah. No,
Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, man.
Really appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you, brothers.
We know it.
And Nigel's a big part of us even getting into surfing. Station Surf Shop definitely opened our eyes and always showed us love. And that's the reason why we felt comfortable to even go out into the water and do what we wanted to do, like, for real. So I want to thank you personally for that. And I'm glad we've got closer this year and stuff, like, and shit, I'll shout it out. Kwame did an amazing donation to us, and I feel like we want to thank you now. Like, we owe you some dinner or something. Like, when we saw that, we were like, wow, like, you made us, like, people really care about our dream, and it's like, it's cool to see that, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, good people doing things. So
yeah, really.
Yeah, man, keep leaning into it. I mean, I don't usually have, like, parting words, but I feel like people have been asking stuff, but my thing is just lean into what makes you happy.
Yeah.
You know, like, lean into what makes you happy. There's always going to be something, bro. Like, there's always going to be something.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you don't do it now, I promise you there may be a time where you can't do it, and it will just F with you forever.
Yeah,
so I'm really stoked to just kind of see you guys, like, living something that I know that you'll look back when you maybe have kids and you're like, and you're like, no, I was in Panama. You ain't doing it in Panama, Daddy. You told me you went to Panama. You went to Panama with the boat. You know, yeah. So I'm super proud of you guys. Again, just because I feel like it's not like you, like it's us.
Exactly.
You know? So that's what kind of makes me feel good. But thank you again.
I just want to say one more thing. Actually, I think the one thing we can all take away from this film, especially we talking with you guys, and for everyone listening, you know, don't be so busy trying to live that you forget to.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Want to learn how to live? Come to Station Surf Shop, baby.
It's like on the business tonight.
All right, thank you. See you next episode.
Yes.
We'll figure out who it is. That's a deal coming.
Don't forget to like, follow us on Instagram. Playin With Em on Instagram.
Yeah.
And Tyler.
Buy a t-shirt. Shout out to Ebony Beach Club. Don't worry, you're going to interview them too when they pull up. Trust me.
Thanks a lot.